Welcome everybody, I'm your host Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Today I'm going to show you how to do an oil change on a 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. This Jeep is owned by my best friend Austin, who is at Track Kick Off-Road on YouTube. This is one of his projects, and I figured what better of a Christmas present than do an oil change for him and show you guys how to do it. So first thing first, we're gonna fire it up and get her up to operating temp. Oh yeah, look at that prime 80s interior. You'd think this sucker's from the 70s. All right, so, okay, we got volts. Let's give it a shot. Oh, there she goes. Oh, nope, come on. This thing cold starts like a mother. Not that. Nope. Nope. Come on. There she goes. Oh. There we go. This thing cold starts rough. So now you're just gonna let her get up to operating temp. So just let her idle for a little bit. Once she's all up to temp, go ahead and bring it to where you want to go do the change at. You don't have to jack it up or use ramps because, you know, it's a truck chassis, but I figure throw it up on some ramps, make it easier, not sit there and fight myself doing it. So all you're gonna need for this job is obviously a drain pan to drain all your oil into. Then you wanna ratchet with a 19 mil socket, that's the size of your drain plug off your oil pan. Potentially an oil filter wrench. I'm pretty confident I can get it off by hand, but we shall see. And that's about it for tools. We're gonna be using a K&N filter on this sucker. The part number is HP1007. And then we're gonna be using Dello 1540 diesel oil. Now, Hutch requested that I use this oil. The OEM is 10W30, I believe, but he wants to run a little bit of a higher viscosity because his this motor's got 280,000 miles on it. That and the Dello oil contains a lot of zinc, and that's really good for these old iron blocks. And so we're gonna be doing about 5.5 quarts. I believe OEM is 5 quarts, but that's what he requested, and well, this sucker bleeds like a stuck pig, so. Yeah. Well, let's get her all started here. So, need to finagle my fat butt down here. And then boom, got your drain plug right there. So all you wanna do now is make sure you're righty-tighty, lefty-loosey, get on there, and start slowly but surely, carefully spinning it off. Now, given that I don't have 3 hands, I'm gonna go ahead and set you guys down for a second and go ahead and start on it, and then we'll pick up from there. So once you got the drain plug backed off enough, you wanna sit there and do it by hand so you don't lose your drain plug in the process of taking it off. Now, normally I'm wearing a nice set of nitro gloves when I do this because I don't like to get oil all over my hands and then all over the camera all at the same time. Now, unfortunately, in this cruel year of our Lord 2020, nitro gloves are a little hard to find, so I'm using these fancy vinyl gloves. That's all I can seem to find, but yeah, whatever. So go ahead and drain the oil out. Spill all over the ground, why don't you? Unfortunately, there's no way to really stop it from hitting your front axle, but you know, well, diff, I should say, but yeah, that's a little unavoidable, but you know, make it work. Let's go ahead and just take a minute and let all the oil drain out. Well, unfortunately, we made a little bit of a mess here. So I had forgotten that this pan's got a little bit of a crack in the top of it right there, and you know, with I don't even think about it with the Miatas having a 4-quart pan, so fortunately we spilled just a little bit there, but no worries. It's always good to have some paper towels or rags or shop rags, or you know, those fancy expensive oil rags themselves that absorb all the oil and what have you. So I'm gonna go and let that clean up a little bit, and then I'll show you guys cleaning up the drain plug itself. Well, that doesn't look too bad at all. So you're gonna wanna just take a nice rag and just clean up the threads and clean any kind of road gunk and, you know, excess oil and what have you off your drain plug before you put it back into the hole. Then we'll go from there. Nice and clean. Looks good to me. Well, now you notice that there's a rubber crush washer on here. I asked Austin if I should go ahead and throw a new one on there. Well, I'd have to run and go get one. But he said just go ahead and send it all the way. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and do. All right, now that you got that all cleaned up, you wanna come back down, find your threads. Make sure you're not going in sideways and cross-threading it, because that'd be a really bad day. And then just nice and slowly start her back up by hand. And just slowly but surely work that sucker back in there. Don't worry about that residual oil coming off the pan. You'd have to leave it sitting there a while before that finally stop on you. So get it all the way down by hand and go from there. Grab your wrench. Well, clean up this mess before you do that, because you won't have very much room. All right, once you got your mess cleaned up for the most part, I'm gonna come back here with some kitty litter once we're all done here. Make sure that's completely cleaned up. So I get your ratchet back on there. And then nice and easy. Don't wanna go too hard because you don't wanna strip it out and have a really bad day. Just kinda get it back snug. You don't have to harp on it, you know, not like there's a torque spec to it or anything like that. Just nice and easy. And, you know, get her all good, you know, nice and snug down to the oil pan. And we'll move on from there, add some oil. Well, actually, get that filter off first. What am I saying? Well, before you put your oil in, you're gonna pull the filter off, obviously. So just make sure you got your pan down below. So when you pull the filter, a little bit of oil is gonna run out of there. So let me reach up in here. There we go. It's nice and easy, back that off. Make sure the pan, take the oil as it falls out. Fortunately, it looks like that's gonna fall all over steering components as it drops. Oop, my pan. There she goes. So I like to just let it slowly come out. That way there's less that I gotta deal with. So just back it off just a little bit more. That may have been all of it. So drip out your oil. Make sure it's not just gonna slosh the hell out as soon as you get it off. Nope. Like that. And boom, your filter's out. And we'll go to the new filter and add some oil to it and reattach it. So before you put your new filter on any vehicle, it's always good that you get a little bit of oil and rub it onto the mating gasket that's going to mate to your block or your adapter or whatever have you. That way it ensures a nice good seal with the block. You don't have to like just, you know, pour a bunch of oil all over it. You just need to rub a little bit on the gasket, make sure it's going to seat up correctly and not have any problems and not be a pain in the butt to take off later in the future. And it's going to be a little hard with this one because the adapter sits kind of sideways, but you always want to add just a hair bit of oil into the filter, maybe just a little more. That way when you first start it up, that way when you first start it up, it doesn't just sit there and, you know, suck dry for the first like 2 seconds that it fires without having any oil, you know, in the system or anything like that. So it's always safer than sorry. Just throw a little oil into your filter. Now, if this was going on directly through the bottom and I wouldn't have to worry about it spilling out the top, then I would just fill the filter. But yeah, just throw a little bit in there and it'll be all good. And that way when it starts up, it sucks it out of the filter and not just sucking air from the filter at the first startup. So let's go ahead and put the sucker on. So get your new filter. Oh, there went some new oil already pouring out onto me. Make sure to leave your drain pan there. And yeah, all that oil is pouring out of there. So slowly but surely work that on. Make sure you're threaded on straight. Because you strip that out, oh, you're having a bad day. So you're gonna wanna just turn it, spin it all the way down. Get that gasket on the mating surface nice and tight. Grab a rag and clean that up a little bit more. It's a little oily, but I'm confident that that's tight enough. So you just want to make sure that it's on hand tight. You don't want to use a wrench tightening an oil filter back on, because you can strip it out two different ways. One, right here at the top, you can, crush the can and split the can open, and or just, rip it open, and then it's gonna be a pain trying to get it off. Or two, the adapter on the inside of the, from the block to the filter, you can strip that out, and boy, buddy, that would be a really, really bad day. So now that we got this on there, nice and tight, now it's time to add some new oil. All right, well, per Austin's request, I'm gonna be adding the 5.5 quarts of Dello 1540. Usually I just full send it into the opening for the oil, but I don't trust this sucker. So I'll go ahead and add in however much oil you're gonna do. Again, like I said, the last I checked is OEM is 5 quarts, so go ahead and add your 5 quarts of oil. Look at that golden nectar. Ain't that beautiful? All the dinosaurs. Also, it's good to make sure when you're doing this to watch for any leaks, to see if you screwed up in the process. So keep an eye out for that as you're adding oil. All right, after you got all the oil put in it, you're going to want to pull out your funnel. That thing can screw off there. Reattach your cap, make sure that sucker's there, and then we're gonna go and check the dipstick just to make sure we did it all right. All right, moment of truth. Make sure we didn't completely screw this up. Oh yeah, there's plenty of dinosaurs on that sucker. Let's clean it off and check it. All right, now that we cleaned it off and put it back in, check it one more time. Oh, let's just fight everything. Yeah, a little more than full, but he wanted 5.5 quarts. I know you can't really see that too well, but just take my word for it, I guess. So go ahead and put that back in and we'll fire it up. Moment of truth. Let's see if we get a rod knock. Fires right up. Don't worry about the oil pressure. There she is. All right, well. Get it off the ramps. And we're good. So now that you got it all fired up and running, you always want to go down and make sure that you're not leaking or anything. And it looks good to me. Check the drain plug. Put the oil pump in. Looks like there's some residual there, but she's okay. She's all set. After you made sure there isn't any leaks while it's sitting there running and getting up to temp, always want to go for a test drive just to make sure everything's all good. Austin's taking her out. Oh, got some trash up there. I'll run and grab that. Well, he's out test driving that. Thought I'd show you guys. It's always good to make sure you properly clean up all your oil mess. Well, my bad, but kitty litter works really good for picking up this stuff. Also, we sprayed a little bit of soap onto there, no water, of course, and a couple other assorted cleaners that we had laying around the shop. It's safe for this kind of stuff. So you want to make sure to lay down the kitty litter let it soak up all the oil and sweep it all up. Get it out of the box. Well, Austin just got her home about 15-20 minutes ago. We sat here and let it run, watched everything. The oil filter isn't leaking, and the drain plug ain't leaking. The motor still leaks like a stuck pig, but that ain't my fault. That's just age. But that's how you change the oil on a 1986 Jeep Grand Wagoneer. Appreciate you guys watching the video. If you want to check out Austin's channel, again, it's at Track Kick Off-Road. Check out all the cool stuff he's building. If you guys like this video, please like it. If you disliked it, go ahead and dislike it. You know, leave me a comment and tell me why. And please subscribe if you want to. I'd really appreciate it. Help me out. But thanks again for watching. I've been your host, Austin Bill from Dawsonville. Have a good one.